Alright guys, so I'm going to do another comic review, and again, this is another book from my good friend Chris, aka the Mount Vernon Kid. Chris, thank you again for this book and the others, and the ones that will eventually come through mail. I had a sentence there, but I lost it. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about RWBY Justice League, or Justice League RWBY. So this is the big comic where we had the DC universe, well, a version of the Justice League meet the characters from RWBY. This was hyped up and is probably going to be the basis for the upcoming Justice League RWBY movie. Yeah, that's an animated film that's coming out. And yeah, this comic is, I think, the basis for that. Now, full disclosure, if you're thinking like, oh, it's like a universe, like it's a cross-universe story, and the Justice League's gonna like get powers from Remnant, no, that's not it. In fact, it's not a universe-crossing story. That is more of what we're gonna get next year with the upcoming RWBY DC Universe crossover. In here, you have to understand this is not the Justice League you know. This is a Remnant Universe version of the Justice League. Which is kind of cool, but at the same time, like, they're trying to put this in continuity, which it bothers me on several levels. Like, how much they try to fit this into continuity is a little bothersome on so many levels. But we'll get into that in a bit. So the story is that RWBY is on vacation, and the team RWBY is on their own little vacations here and there, and they each encounter different members of this version of the Justice League. You have RWBY and Yang, who meet Clark, who is a farmhand helping their dad. You have Blake, who meets Diana, who in this universe is made from clay and is considered an automaton. All of their abilities all of their abilities are dust-based. Like, Clark's abilities are like similar to dust as long as he's under the yellow sun. Diana's come from her weapons. All of them get a new Remnant kind of look. Batman is like a bat faunus, and encounters Weiss. God damn it, I'm late. It's late, I'm tired. And the team is all encountering these different members of the Justice League who are younger and not as powerful as you would think. So, yeah. But, however, what's going on in this story is that people, Huntresses, Grimm, and others are disappearing across Remnant. Like, there's hundreds of people, even hunters, and all, even like just faunus, everyone, basically everyone is going missing and coming back mind controlled by a villain that was kind of being in a movie this year, and that villain is Starro the Conqueror. So yeah, now, this, like I said, this comic tries way too hard to fit into continuity, and also, like, that kind of bothers me on the level of, okay, I get it, you're trying to do this in, like, a Season 1, Season 2 kind of era in RWBY, like, kind of nebulous in that era. But, like, at the same time, like, you do some stuff in here that I'm like, wait a minute, how does that work? Like, okay, I get that you have Starro taking control of Grimm and hypnotizing people. He's also working with someone who's, like, Starro is working with someone who they introduced for the book called Mr. Lloyd, and I'm like, you know who would have been better and made way more sense than some evil businessman who also has no impact on the story. He just shows up, and it's just something for a Superman Batman gag named Mr. Lloyd. You know what would have made a lot more sense? Roman fucking Torchwick. Like, yeah, because of course Roman would throw in with the alien mind-controlling space god. So would Neo. But yeah, that makes way more sense of having Roman willingly work with Starro rather than be mind-controlled into it. And that's what bothers me about this, is that it tries, and also, like, the whole thing of controlling Grimm, I'm like, how did I understand that you didn't want to introduce Salem too fast, or because Salem wasn't involved in the first two seasons, but we know that Salem exists. You could have done like a cutaway, at least explaining why Salem didn't get involved in this whole Starro controlling the Grimm, and you could have just done it as a page, because we already know Salem controls the Grimm. So you could have just done like Marjorie Bennett, who is a great writer, by the way. She's a really great writer, and I really love her work. Most of you guys would know her best from for X-23, as well as more importantly DC Bombshells. And yeah, it's a little like I was kind of hoping for like just a mention of why Salem, like just cut to Salem, like why is she not getting involved, or is she? She's obviously not under mind control. There's no way Starro would control her, but more like just kind of brooding in her in like her fortress, something of that nature. I don't know. I don't mind that the characters are out of character. The DC characters are, well, out of character, because this is a different universe of that. This is a different version of them. This is from the multiverse, and they do explain the multiverse in here. But a lot of these characters don't feel. Actually, I take that back. They do feel good. Like they do feel like good as their original characters. But what bothers me is that I feel like they get a little OP. I feel like a lot of the Justice League characters, even though you could make the argument that they're nerfed in this universe, they're still pretty OP. Like, they're still very OP, and if, to my knowledge, semblances have their limits, but still, I'm like, come on, guys. You couldn't nerf them just a little more? Because it feels like RWBY doesn't do a lot in here. Like, Team RWBY just kind of gets cast to the side against the Justice League. Yeah. Yeah, and it also ends with the Justice League building the Watchtower, then going into space to battle multiversal threats. I'm like, man, it's too bad they're off in space now. They really could have been useful against Salem right about now. But whatever. Anyway, so this is not a bad crossover, but I think my expectations were just a wee too high. I am very excited for the RWBY DC Universe crossover. This one, I didn't have the highest expectations, and it's not a bad crossover. Would I count it in one of my favorites? Nah. But it is really fun, but it really does feel more like ideas that Marjorie Bennett wanted to use for the Justice League, but then when she got RWBY and then got tacked onto this book, it was like, okay, now I can do it with these characters. Yeah. Yeah. Also, it's hilarious to see. Well, not hilarious. I take that back. It's actually kind of neat that like she, rather than be like Rooster Teeth and be coy about everything, she flat out like, yeah, Yang and Blake are a couple. Deal with it. Like, it's not even like Rooster Teeth, who was still, like, kind of jerking us all around in the show. Marjorie Bennett, who's known for, like, if you've read Bombshells, then you know what I'm talking about, is, like, she's, like, completely candid about, these two are a couple, fucking deal with it. So, yeah. Yeah, all in all, it's just okay. But yeah, you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of the RWBY Justice League crossover? And once again, I'd like to thank my good friend Mount Vernon Kid for this crossover. And yeah, other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.